My name is Cecile Baumann, and I'm your host and the founder of the company Ganz in Bewegung. I'm a movement and Alexander Technique specialist. My business serves holistic thinking people who want to improve their mind-body connection. We are coming to you live from Zurich, where it's getting colder out there. Our interview session today is with Tammy Crawford, also known for her Tuesday Facebook Lives about the power of art and nature. We are so excited to have her here. But before I bring her up, I want to share what I mean by mind-body connection. The Ganz in Bewegung system we developed includes 7 defining components of being human. For non-German speakers, the meaning of Ganz in Bewegung is the whole of you in motion, which includes your movement, your body, your surrounding, your experience, your emotion, your thinking, and it's all connected with your breathing, and all is interconnected with each other. Our guest, Tammy Crawford, is an internationally published author and speaker. She is also internationally known for her inspirational fine art and 3D wall sculptures, reliefs, murals, and paintings. Her unique originals sell from 5 to 6 figures. Tammy started selling art at 14, has taken on various art projects, and has taught art privately and publicly. Her artwork has been featured and published in multiple media outlets, including magazines, newspapers, and television. Tammy's dedication to philanthropy has included raising funds for children's charities, mentoring, and art education. Originally from Oregon, she now lives in beautiful North Idaho, surrounded by trees, lakes, wildlife, and peace. Her mission to enhance people's lives by creating beautiful art that causes them to reflect, imagine, and be inspired. Her book is perfect for those who need courage, inspiration, and encouragement when facing their own challenges. Tammy's story will inspire you to never give up on your dreams and to tap into the power of art and nature when facing difficulties in your own life. By following Tammy's example, you can overcome any obstacle in your path. If you have any questions you'd like to ask Tammy Crawford, please contact her directly. Now, let's welcome Tammy as I bring her up here. Hi, Tammy. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great having you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's my honor and my pleasure. So I just feel totally blessed being here. So thanks again.
We previously had so great discussions about nature, art, life, everything, art for especially. And it was such an
Exactly.
honor.
Well, it was our honor to have you on our show. So, and if anybody hasn't seen it, they can go back and I have it posted on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course on our sites on Facebook and stuff. So, and that's at thepowerofartandnature.com or Unlocking Freedom in Nature. So it's on 2 different sites right now. So no, it was so much fun having you. And of course, we would love to have you back on.
Yes, I would be glad to be back. And you have so many interesting guests. It's amazing. You know, you can scroll through all the guests and just listen to what you want. And it's so great. You know, I love the Tuesday talks from you. It's really such inspiring.
Thank
And
you.
the
I
next
know
is
we
coming up.
have been
Yes.
totally blessed because we've had just amazing guests on, that have so much experience and knowledge. And I don't know if people realize, but I think almost every single one's they're a coach or a leader in the industry. So they have all this great experience to share with people. So you're always getting all these, like, what do you call it, little wisdom. Um, you're getting so much from them. And if you just listen to those, it's going to help you in your business or your everyday life. So, and that's what we want. We want it to be fun and people to enjoy when they do watch it, not, like, oh, they're on again. We don't want to listen to them, so.
Yeah, no, it's so golden nuggets, really. And I
Yes,
love
that
all
was the word I
yours.
was looking for. So thank you.
Yeah, no, that's really great. So I really recommend going to the Facebook group. It's a private group, yes?
It is. It's a
Mhm.
private group, but we do have links. And the first ones we interviews before we were, going ahead and putting them out there. But no, it's starting to get because it's growing so much. We are closing it to only those that are in our group will be able to listen to those interviews. So
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, because
so,
that's a great group also, wonderful people who
well,
interact, and I love it. Really, it was such an honor and
yeah, we
great
do
being
have a
there.
great group because they interact, like you said.
Yeah.
They're all everybody's like mine. Everybody just about kindness, love, nature, or art. Um, it's they usually use nature for interacting with, kind of like I do for pain management, therapy, anxiety, different things that people don't even realize. That's what we need. We need to be able to take that walk out or go and enjoy the outdoors or go walk through a gallery or museum or work on our own art. So,
Yeah, it's such, there are so many different ways how you can approach health and well-being. And I think I'm also an art person. I love art, and it's so great, to do it myself, even if it's not so inspiring like you art. I mean, your 3D wall sculptures are so beautiful. I'm just blown away when I see them. Your new
oh, thank
creations, your
you. A
wonderful.
lot of work
Yes, I
goes
can
into them, and
imagine.
people don't realize it's ours.
Yes.
It's like when, like on this piece, I could zoom in and out if you want me
Oh,
to.
please, please, we want to see it.
Okay. So this is a 7 foot by 9 foot piece. So it looks like I must have a chair. Oh, it's there. My microphone was kind of in the way. So that kind of gives you an idea. But each
Oh,
piece, I mean, I sculpt and it's layers and layers because it's applying and taking off and applying and taking off. And then when I like work on a heron, because I want that movement, I only do 3 to 4 feathers at a time.
mhm.
And then you have to let it dry because it's the drying times that sometimes can take even longer. And then there's days, I mean, I'll be using hands for carving because this hand gets so tired and stuff. But when I'm working on art like that, my mind totally forgets everything else because I'm concentrating on that. So you forget about the pain you're in,
Yes.
because I have headaches 24 hours a day, like you had mentioned earlier. Um, but doing that is like it's a form of pain management. So when you're painting a painting, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, you're having fun, you're enjoying it. It's kind of like when I had some students that they had been abused and stuff. So a lot of times I've worked with students and kids that have been through abusive situations. And so they come here for art, which is kind of an art therapy, but I sit there and I just listen to them and let them paint. But he was so afraid that he was going to make a mistake. Because a lot of times when kids are being abused or just society, we're so afraid of making mistakes
Mhm.
that we freeze up when we're afraid to mix colors. And I find with adults, they can draw, but they're afraid to mix colors because, oh, what if I make a mistake? And kids are more like, oh, I can do whatever color, but I'm afraid of drawing. But when the kids are abused, they even think they're just so afraid to do anything. And when I showed him, I'm like, you know how many times I sometimes will repaint a painting or a sky? Because we were just working on the sky, the background. And when I showed him pictures, he was like, oh my gosh, you make mistakes. It's like, yeah, I always, we all make mistakes. Nobody is perfect.
It's
So
a
it's like,
learning field.
enjoy.
It's a learning
Exactly.
field.
Go enjoy. And after that, I mean, his paintings were incredible, because then
Yeah.
he was able to relax and realize it's okay if I change my mind,
Mhm.
so art is great for
And
that.
canvas are also very forgiveful. My parents both are painting, and they love painting, and they have they do it in holidays all the time. And we also went there with my family, and we also got the chance to paint. And if it's
Oh,
not good,
cool.
you're just over. with white color or whatever, and you start over again. And if you don't
Exactly.
like
Well,
it,
some
you do the same thing, and then it gets very thick. It gets almost 3D, and I love it. I think, okay, that makes it more interesting. So it's more fun.
exactly.
Great.
It's
It's
like
so
you can take
forgetful.
that
Yes,
mistake and
yes,
make it into something beautiful, right? So, and
yeah.
that's how we learn. If I hadn't done those events, I wouldn't be able to do the art that I do today.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, I mean, I started doing trees is like one of the things I've always loved since I was probably 4 years old, was drawing trees with crayons, pencil, whatever. But I've studied trees, and a lot of times people don't, and that's where nature and art combine. Is like when I have an art class, one of the first things I want you to do is to start seeing the world around you. So I usually take you outside, and I'm like, okay, let's find a tree. And I have them go up to find a tree. And this, and so it's like, okay, here's this tree. How does it grow? Let's look at the roots. Let's look at the base. Tree doesn't grow from the sky, it grows from the ground. So let's start looking at that. And so you start noticing as it goes up, and you start noticing what kind of bark does it have? What is the design? God created this beautiful design. Cedars trees have one type of bark, aspen, birch, they all have a little bit different. What is the coloring? How are the branches? Do they go in V shape, more straight out? Are they more layered? There's so many different things. And then how are the little tiny branches on it? Is it needles? Is it leaves? What kind of leaves? What kind of needles? I mean, there's so much to it. And then when you go up, but I found that when you do this, it gets people to start thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much more. So then they start noticing the
Yeah.
trees, the bird nest, all those little things, because a lot of times we're so busy that, a lot of time that we don't notice things. And if we start noticing, it's like you start appreciating more in your life. A lot of times people have those watches on, and I have a watch that counts all your steps and stuff. But if you're so busy worrying about how much is counting, are you really taking in everything that's out there? Are you really enjoying nature?
Yeah. And it's
You
getting
know,
more
t-
three-dimensional, otherwise it's so flat. How we got taught to draw in school, it's like, you have a picture, 2D, and it's just, you have to do it the same way. And I'm not the kind of person who does it as the teacher wants it. I'm too creative probably, or yeah, not obedient.
that's so funny because in art lessons in high school, I only did pottery.
Okay.
Because I was not a fan of the teacher. And in college, I dropped out because I did one class and I was like, I would never hang this in my house.
Yeah.
Why would I paint that? It's nothing that I enjoyed. I
Yeah.
did take sandblasting classes,
Mhm.
stained glass. I've taken those classes that you need to learn the basics.
Yeah.
So you're on the right way, and then there's some teachers out there that are great. And at times I'll say, okay, I want you to draw a picture of a tree, or I want you to draw this. But one of the first things is make sure you know how to draw those shapes,
Yeah,
and for
yeah,
shading and how you can
yeah.
take those shapes and make them into anything.
Yeah.
But you have to draw what you love,
And
you know.
also to, the preparation. What I hear from you, it's more like you have to prepare yourself before you act. You prepare yourself by observing, by feeling, by touching, by being around and seeing really the deep layers, the three-dimensional. So you can afterwards let it drop onto the canva, and
Well,
also,
exactly. And when we do that, because you're taking in even the smell, so you're using all of the senses you have,
yeah.
and it helps you to relax, and it
Mm.
helps take. And so even in those times that you're being stressed, or have challenges, you're able to remember even like that time when you were outside, or that time you're drawing, because you're remembering because you used all those senses. It's
Mhm.
kind of like one of the times when I was working on um, this nest. I was working, I love working outside, or my doors are always open to the studio, but a lot of times I'll take my easels outside and work. And so one day I was outside working on my on this nest. It was a 3D nest in an apple tree. And on my easel, all of a sudden this songbird comes over and sits on the top of my easel. We're talking, a foot away, and starts singing a song while I'm working on the piece.
Wow. What an
So and I'm just
experience.
like, oh wow. And when I was telling that story, the client had the customer, because it wasn't even a pre-sold. They had to buy it immediately
Yes.
because of the story.
Yeah, yeah, it's so connect. And I think the love for nature comes back from nature. It's a give and take, and somehow an exchange can happen if you are connected with nature. A lot of people are disconnected. They even with themselves. We have also
Exactly.
layers, so we don't know we don't know our layers. I have to also teach my clients, some anatomy, so they can realize how complex they are, and it's their nature. So it's helpful if they have not a good connection with themselves, and it's too hurtful to listen inside. It's better to listen outside. That's why I love your work so much, because you also work one-to-one with people to bring them through the process from outside to inside, healing indirectly. I love it. I think
Oh,
that's really
thank
a
you.
wonderful approach, and
Well,
appreciate
and I
your hard
thank you.
work.
And I think it's because I've been blessed. I've been able to, it's working and helping others. I've done over 38 years, and I still today do free stuff mentoring with young youth.
Wow.
One of my coaching or mentoring and stuff. And I love working with youth, and you learn so much when you're helping others
Yes.
besides helping yourself. It helps you. So, and I'm lucky. I live in the forest. So we have 10 acres. So I get to walk outside to trees, and we parked out. We have waterfalls and ponds, and I have gardens and everything, because that's what brings me joy. So
Yeah, and you have also not an easy story. I mean, I'm also reading your book, and I have so many questions also about the book, because I love the book. When I read it, it's almost like I'm standing there with you. Yes, I'm standing there in this forest and observing, and I can feel and smell, and I'm totally in, even though I'm in my living room
well,
and
thank you.
not
That's what
there.
my goal was.
Yeah, really, because this is really, I was like, that's so crazy. And I don't have this sometimes with a lot of books. So it's really, that was so special. And I just started reading, it was just the beginning. I was like, that's really art.
Well,
You're not only an artist with drawing and creating, but also with words. How to
thank
bring
you.
your experiences into words and out to the world. So it's ac- really,
Well, thank
I
you.
think everybody has to read it.
Well,
Everybody.
I appreciate that. And the hardest thing to get is reviews. So,
Ah, okay, that's
I
easy.
love reviews. For some reason, everybody always forgets that they need to give you a review. But yeah, I appreciate
Yeah.
reviews. And I love that. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. And of course, if you want the bonus worksheets that go with my book,
Oh, you
because
have
I
it.
have exercises for on your values and some different finding yourself.
Wow.
Just message me and remind me, and I'll email you those. So, and for anybody on here, if they want those, just to direct message me. So if they didn't go through the one site and it didn't directly send it, just ask.
And you give so much. It's amazing. In the book it's so many inspirations. I had to listen to the music. You just dropped some music titles, and I was like, oh, I have to find them and listen to them, and I love it. It's so three-dimensional also. It's not just, you read it and for the intellect, but you experience it, you feel it, it's with emotions, it's with the surrounding to be more connected with everything around you and with yourself. I think it's amazing how you did the book and how full of presence, I would say.
Oh, you're
Yes,
so
it's
sweet. I love
really,
it.
and now the workbooks also, and you want to
Yeah.
make a
Well,
course
so those
also.
are just bonus sheets that I have to go
Okay.
with it. But I am working on a course. I thought it was finished, but then I decided, like I was telling you earlier, I decided to add some more because
Wow.
you never have. And then, you know, once you're in my course, that I always give more than what I say. Kind of like
Hmm.
with my art. I always do more than what I tell the customer I'm going to do because
Hmm.
I love to see their eyes light up, you know,
Yeah.
because whenever I can help somebody, and I'm so glad that you mentioned the different dimensions. And I guess that's because that's the world I live in. So I
Mhm.
want to share that. And you're not there's been quite a few people that have said, hey, I started listening to those songs, that artist, and now I understand why you're in love with their music, because it's their words, because it's positive words, you know, that help. Or like when we're down, because nobody has perfect life, and we have our ups and downs each day. You know, we have our good times and bad times. I mean, like a week ago, it was like, oh my gosh, my headaches were so bad, you know, but today they're fine. You know,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
it's just life. You know how it is. You work on help people with their bodies and stuff. And sometimes our muscles aren't always what we want them to be, our bodies. So
Yeah, yeah, and to somehow that you recognize when it's better, and then you change. I think that's the hard work. You know, you can stay in
that
the
is
habit
because
of
sometimes
feeling
I'm like
bad.
going, gosh, why am I so tense? You know, or you're like,
Yeah.
you just can't think. And then it's like, okay, time out. I need to go for a walk. Time out. I need to do something totally different. I'll like walk in and it's beautiful. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, we need to go to the lake. We need to go. Let's take the
Yeah.
side by side out. So sometimes our thing, what we do, and you'll see those beautiful photos, um, is because it was a last minute thing, but I needed to get away. And you would think that I wouldn't have to get away because I live in the woods. But you know, when you're home, you think
Mhm.
about all the things that you need to do. You know, because I work from home, so I have my office studio here, but I also garden. And you know, it's like, oh, I probably should get this done. I should get this done, or no, I should probably work on that. And so that's why I have to get away for short little things. Yeah, I just walk outside, walk down to my chicken coop, and my roosters are
It's so
not like
cute.
normal roosters. They run up. You could pet them, you can hug them, you can hold them. You know,
Oh, I would
they're all
love
excited.
to visit you one day.
They're
You
so
know,
excited
it's
to
so
see you.
beautiful.
And, you know, all the chickens are clucking, and we have
Mhm.
turkeys and bunnies. And, you know, in our yard, it looks like a Disney opening film because you have the turkeys, bunnies, deer, Bambi, you know,
It looks like on
blue
holidays.
jays.
When you post something and I watch it, I'm like, does she have holidays again? You know, it's like your life is a holiday, but it's not that. You know, it's really because you're so focused and you know what you need to be so focused. And that's why I think you're so clever. You know how you do this life work balance. And because you have this background and with your headaches, you have to do this for you and your family, that you just keep up and take care for yourself. So it's really wonderful how you deal with all the challenges
Well,
and you
thanks.
live it.
Well, especially since I had the brain injury, the fall,
Yeah.
you know, and I got the brain head injury. And then, you know, after what was it, 67 doctor visits, that which didn't even count the therapy and massage, everything else that I had. And I've gone through over 48 MRIs and had all these different doctors and stuff that told me I had the brain tumors. And then I had the insurance agent was saying, no, we cannot insure you because you may not wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when you have all that thrown at you, you're like, well, God has a different story for me, and I'm here for a reason. I'm going to live life to the fullest. And so each day is a blessing. We need to be thankful for what we do have and for the people are in our lives, and for being able just to wake up and to experience that day. And it's like, okay, what can I do today? And one of my goals has always been, what can I do to help somebody else out today? To make them smile, to encourage somebody, whether, even if I don't leave the house, what can I put on Facebook or social media that might encourage or inspire somebody? Or if you are at the grocery store, smile or say something kind to the clerk, or help somebody by taking their shopping cart back, or just, it's those little things that makes life a difference. And if you can make a difference in somebody else's life,
Mhm.
then that's helpful. It's like, it's not always just about us, but at the same time, when we serve and help others, it does help us. It blesses us more than it probably blessed them.
Yeah, yeah, this is really, it's like a energy exchange, and it's flowing back all the time. And also with your many animals, I mean, you take care for everyone. You share
Oh,
your things in the garden, I'm
well,
assuming.
and I don't feed the wildlife, but my rooster, we call him Fred. We have Fred, Charles, and Cluck Norris,
Yeah.
the grandkids, and Kiwi. It all
Yeah.
started because my granddaughter raised a rooster called Kiwi, and she
Oh,
would swing with him and cuddle with him since he was a baby. Well, he is the nicest daddy and takes care of the babies and everything. You thought he was it, but he is so sweet. And we always laugh because they're always crowing day and night, talking to each other. And when you go and you listen to him and you see it, it's like, oh, they're setting up a quartet here. But we laugh and say they call in all the other animals, the turkeys, and they hang out with each other. It's so funny watching them hang out, doing the thing. So, but yeah, I kind of do, because we keep everything green and we have our ponds, so they come in for the water and stuff.
yeah.
So
Yeah, really a caring space.
it's
For-
it's a wildlife refuge center is what we call it.
Yeah, yeah. And
It's a
I'm
private.
sure I'm sure that's a healing place for many.
Well, when you get to watch like the moose and and the deer, watch them eat, or just lay down in your yard and stuff, just watching them, or watching the turkeys go back and forth, when you just sit there and watch it, and we have different decks. I have probably more lawn furniture than most people. Because I want to be able to have places like, okay, let's just relax in the swing. Let's just relax back here.
Mhm.
So our whole around our house has different place settings and stuff. So you can enjoy,
Yeah.
no matter if you're looking outside through a window, or you're on the back deck, or by the fire pit, or in the front, there's always some place to just relax and enjoy.
Yeah, but it's also work, as I understand, you need
Yeah.
to
Oh,
sit
yeah, it
down and
is.
observe. It's working space. You don't have to mess it just with relaxing. That's your working place, and you have to arrange them so you can sit down and get inspired.
Oh, yeah. And so it basically is set up so you can just go relax, because to keep
Mm.
the work, yeah, I have to mow my yard and we weed occasionally, but we landscaped with nature, which is a little bit different than what a lot of people go and they do, like more of those concrete and stuff. But no, because I wanted to bring in the nature. We did like the wild ferns and huckleberries and different things. So in all the trees, so we were very selective at what trees we keep and what trees we didn't, what
Mhm.
plants, for our flower beds. So you have bulbs and stuff that come up at different times of the year, yet ferns and stuff are in there, so it's a mix. So it's nature mix. And so, and we have so many different varieties of trees on our place that most people don't have. But it was just the property, it was what God planted. So working with what we have. And so when you work with nature, it makes it a lot easier. So you're not fighting against it, you're working with it.
Yeah, but it's also work. It's not done like this. You have to think about it.
No.
You have to care about it. You have to manage it.
Yes.
That
Yes.
everything feels. cared about.
Yes, and it takes a good week every spring
Yeah.
to get everything back in order after the snow and stuff, the raking and just making sure everything's, trimmed up because you can trim those plants down to, they're only like a few inches from the ground and right now they're probably 5 to 6 feet
Yeah.
because that's how fast some of those will grow, so.
Yeah, yeah, that's also a job. It's a,
It
you know,
is,
it's work.
but it's good exercise and it's natural exercise. And so I actually don't
Healthy.
mind that.
Yeah, and it's healthy, It's a kind of, again, work-life balance, You
It
need a little
is.
bit of movement and exercise, and if you take it like this, it's a clever move. So you
It
get it
is.
done and you feel
Not
good
saying I
about it,
don't
and it's
appreciate having my grandkids come up and I'll pay them
oh,
to help
great,
me out.
great. Yeah, you're a real entrepreneur, Entrepreneurial mindset.
Exactly. So whatever can help, so.
Yeah, yeah,
But
and
but I've gardened since I was probably at least 2 or 4 because I would working with my grandmother he had huge gardens that my grandparents had huge ranches. And
okay.
so you'd work in their garden and stuff in the dirt, planting seeds. And I can remember that. And she'd show me flowers. And that's probably where I got my love for gardening and the
Mhm.
love for having ponds and stuff in your yard. So why can't your yard look like a park that you would go to, you
Yeah,
know? So
wonderful. Oh, that's really, I really think, how can you manage all these different things in your life? I mean, you are teaching, you are doing art, you're doing your book, to produce a book. I mean, that's a kind of challenge and a kind of
yes,
work.
yes, it was a challenge. That getting me to sit to write is a
Mhm.
challenge.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and for
So,
this you need, to relax in your different parts of the garden to just get creative. I think, do you agree that if you want to be creative, you need this space where you do nothing, or just
yes.
sit,
Yes.
be
And
quiet?
it's the quietness. And that's why I mentioned it in the book about I either want to just listen to nature outside, that quiet. I mean, it's never quiet because you hear the rustling of the leaves or the needles, or you hear the birds singing or the chipmunks or squirrels chirping. But it's a different audience. Or listening to the music that I have mentioned, it's those positive words, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's helping you get through those things so you can just start letting go. And like you said, and so the woods to me, it is quiet, or having that quietness in your house, when you're just to think. But I found that when I was outside or just open my windows are usually open all the time, you can just hear the nature sounds that and we have a water stream. And so that's the one thing I miss in the wintertime. But we have our ponds, and so they're just the slow trickles, but it's
Mm-hmm.
so soothing and relaxing. So when you're listening to it, it just helps you to be more creative,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because then it's like it takes away all that anxiety or stress. It's just like it lowers, um, like when you're listening, because think about it, when you listen to a song that's like really loud or busy or has a lot of noise to it or screaming, it's not relaxing,
Mm-mm.
and some people's voices are not relaxing. They're more like, okay. And then some are, it's like, oh, this might be great for exercising if you want a really tough workout, or something. But there's music for different things, I guess,
Yeah.
is a way to say it. And everybody likes different types of music. I understand that. But for me, for relaxing, I can't, to me, there would be no way to listen to music that was just so out there. I'm not a big fan of the hard rock,
Yeah.
or even rap if you're trying to relax,
Mm-hmm.
it's not relaxing
No, that's not. That's
because
not.
it's like you have to pay attention to the words to even listen. And if the words aren't positive, it's not relaxing.
No, it's making something with us. you know, how you surround yourself with what kind of environment, the music, the audio, the visuals, you know,
Well, even think about
everything is
movies, how they
impacting.
use music to portray different scenes, whether
Yeah,
it's an action movie or a horror movie, or do
yeah.
they want this quiet? Do they want it romantic? I
Mm.
mean, so everybody needs to think about that when they're, it's another form of art. Basically,
Yeah,
what do you want to listen to when you're trying to be creative or relaxed?
yeah.
You know,
And it's really the heart rate can really go up or down through the
exactly.
impact of the music. It's really amazing. Like, do you know Peter B. Helland, I think?
I think
He's
I've heard
doing,
of it.
yeah, he's doing so very calming music with nature sounds also. Because I'm living in the city, you know, I have to get
Right.
this
Yeah. Well, it's
quieting
like
music. That's really helping.
we lived in the city for 13 years down in Oregon. Well, my husband was going to school and we did property management. And then that's where I did my fashion and modeling and that part of me. Um, but when you're in town, you have to take extra time out to go on walks or to leave town and go drive an hour or 30 minutes away to go and experience nature. So it's just a little different. You have to make more of an effort.
Yeah.
But you can do the little things like, put plants on your back patio or porch,
Mm.
have plants in your house like you have behind you, a beautiful plant, that adds that touch of greenery. And the other thing inside your home, you can always use warm colors.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell this to my clients because I've gone in, like my husband's a contractor. And so his clients a lot of times would hire me to design and pick out all their colors and different things for them. And what people don't realize is you need warm tones. Don't go with the cool tones, go with the warm tones because that's going to bring warmth into your house and it's going to be more inviting and more relaxing. When think of doctors, hospitals in our country, and I'm not sure if they're in Switzerland, they go and they put warm tones on their walls now instead of solid whites. They'll go with a cream. And
Oh,
people
yeah.
don't realize there's like 100 it's over 100 different tones of white.
That's true. That's
So you're
true.
just basically going to more yellow tone than blue toned. And it's like in blues, there's different colors. And depending on skin, I studied color for a long time, for over 6 months. And I did color draping and color analysis for different people all the time. And it's like some people look great in cool tones. And
How
so
about
wear it.
me?
It's so I
Yeah.
think you look
No, tell me
beautiful.
afterwards. I don't want to hear it now. We don't want to share it. You know?
Yeah,
Next
and I
time I
think
have a
because
red
you can
one.
wear the jewel tones, so it's perfect. But in your home, instead of
Yeah.
just a straight blue, you can go with instead of a stark white, go with an off white. Go
Hmm.
with a little bit of a creamy color, and it'll look white. It's like my trim looks like it's white, but it's actually cream.
Yeah. Yeah. You can
It
do
it
so
all
much with
it's
colors.
just those little things that can
Hmm.
add some warmth and some more nature. Because if you look outside, the only thing that might be pure white is the snow, but it's usually different. It has so many shades of
Yeah.
whites in it, when you start studying it and stuff. But if you look at nature, especially this time of year in autumns, you start seeing all those beautiful warm colors.
Yeah, that's
And
so
and
true.
I think that's why people fall in love with autumn is because of that warmth.
Hmm.
It's like I love autumn's warm colors, but I hate the short days that we have because it gets dark here like at 7 o'clock last night. I was like, no,
Oh, already. Oh my gosh. Okay.
we're in this,
Yeah.
a few months ago it was 10 o'clock before it got dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. We also, it's getting darker here too. But
otherwise, fall's beautiful, because of those
yeah.
beautiful warm colors. So,
Yeah.
like when we went to the lake on Saturday, you could see the higher elevation, all the reds and golds, were coming out and all the leaves are turning. We're down here, they're just barely starting to turn. So,
Oh,
it all just depends on, the higher elevations, of course, are going to get fall quicker than us. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm here in Switzerland and we can go 5 minutes by feet or in the forest. So it's
Uh,
really, I mean, it's amazing. I can't complain, but I should do it more regularly and really, yeah, we did it every Sunday, and now because my daughter has to learn so much and my husband is helping her a bit, the Sundays are very short. So, but we have to
You're going
start
to have to
again.
go and to do a walk or something, do a break and to say, okay, lunchtime's in the woods.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So,
that's
but
true.
I want to come and visit Switzerland
Yeah,
sometime because I've
please.
heard so many wonderful things about it. So
Yeah, I should do more pictures and post them. So
you
because it's so
should.
beautiful what you post. It's really, I mean, you
Yes.
can see that you have a fable for colors, for art, for three-dimensional. It's really amazing how, and now I think you are packaging everything, your whole knowledge together. I heard something about another program with
Yeah.
more.
So, okay. So I'm doing the course to go with my book, which will help people experience the power of art and nature, the 10 ways how it can help improve your life. So I have a course for that I'm working on and almost finished, because I'm decided to add more to it. And then I'm also working on a course to teach my 3D art.
Wonderful.
So I'll have a basic one, intermediate, and a master class because my 3D wall sculptures is totally different than most. So I'll have different. One of the things I'll be teaching is how to do it on a door, a lower relief, because a lot of my reliefs, like this piece is 7 feet by 9 feet, but I've done, over 22 feet.
Whoa.
My pieces are huge, usually. I mean, I have some smaller ones, some flowers,
Mhm.
um, and then some go out, we're talking just like a quarter of an inch, half an inch, right? But then
Yeah.
some off the wall, the branches come completely off the wall, or
Wow.
trees will stand on their own. So um, I do a lot of different, and I use a lot of different materials, mediums. So there's a lot to it. So, but I already have people that are like, "Hey, we will pay you." So it's like, you know what? I'm just going to design a course,
Yes.
and we'll do it live on Facebook Book Live, which is what I'm doing with this too. I will be doing it live, so it's pre-recorded.
Oh,
So
wonderful. So everyone can take the time when they have.
when they want. So they can either watch it live or go back and watch the recordings. And then they can also connect with each other because I totally believe in having those connections.
Yes. Yes.
Because I've taken courses, and I don't know if you have, that it's like, here's the course, you pay thousands of dollars, and then no recording and no connections. And to
Yeah.
me, that's really sad because but it's like you and I have amazing coaches and mentors, and we took one together, and that's how we know each other,
Yes.
is because of those connections that we made. And that's what's possible. And that's how I'm actually designing my courses, is to be like those.
Yeah.
So people can make connections. I want to get to know who people are. I mean, I'm friends with every single one of my clients. And like yesterday, we had my one client on my Facebook Live, Burnett, and she was one of the first. I designed. It's called Moonlight. Princess Moonlight is the name of the piece, and it's of this girl walking, with the moon and stuff. I designed 2 pieces for her studio, which she's a hairstylist.
Wow. Wonderful.
But what's amazing is with every one of my clients, they are also good friends. So, you get to spend time with them. And I know one of the questions you had earlier was how do you create these pictures?
Yeah.
These pieces for your clients, because I do a lot of commission pieces. So what I do is I set up a time to meet with my clients. I want to see where is this piece going, the location. I want to know more about them. I usually have them show me photos and tell me stories. So,
Mhm.
for example, I went over to one of these clients that's in Spokane. And I listened, and his wife's like, she fell in love with one of my pieces at a show, which is of a herring. She loved the colors. It was all done in greens and these warm greens. And she absolutely loved the colors. But she didn't buy the piece at that time. And she's like, well, I want the colors to be these colors, and I want this tree to be in it and this tree to be in it. That's all I know. And where the location was in a stairwell, which is like, it's over 17 feet or, or 22 feet, really tall and narrow stairwells and stuff, And so the piece could only be 4 feet wide. And then her husband told me stories about, he loves going on hiking trips and camping trips. And so he was telling me about these different hiking trips. And then he goes, oh yeah, I remember this one trip we had these golden eagles over us. Flying, and he told me the story. But then in my mind, I went, okay, those eagles, I had just got a picture of some golden eagles over the lake where we had gone boating. So I was like, okay, I got that. And so then what I do is take all their stories and everything, their information, and I go home and draw. Besides, I actually charge my clients $500 to draw the scene, which goes towards the scene. But that's to make sure that they are taking it as serious as I'm taking it.
Yes.
Because I don't want to go and draw something and then have them like, oh no, we're not interested, because that's wasting my time, because I take a lot of time to put together a picture for them. So I usually draw at least 3 drawings, take it back and meet with the client. And what was funny is my client, she's like, I love these drawings, but I don't want blue water. And I'm like, I only did blue so that you could see it was make sure you could see it was water, right? She's like, I get so I'm like, just a second. I erased the blue because I think I just used, luckily, colored pencil that day. So I erased it and drew it in with pencil, just lightly, the kind of this gray silver color. And she's like, oh, that's perfect. So we did this 14-foot waterfall scene, but it was done on 5 panels. So I had tree panels and bottom panels. And so I did it in my studio. And then when we took it back, my husband and son-in-law, they helped install it. And then what I do is I seam it on site once it's installed. So then I work on the ladder. I don't have to spend weeks and weeks on a ladder. I'm able to just go and put it all together. I mean, you could just keep it in pieces, but then you'd see seams, right?
Yeah.
But then we put it together, and then they were surprised because I had thrown 2 golden eagles into the piece for them, that they had not, because I wasn't in my drawing. And we called it Golden Eagle Falls, which you can see it on my one website, mitskafinearts.com. You can pull up the piece, but it's called Golden Eagle Falls. But that's how that piece was created. And they loved it. And of course, they bought the other heron piece too here last year. So almost every one of my client usually has 2 to 3 pieces.
Yeah, I think
of
if
my
you have
art.
one, you can't go back to the 2D.
And so, and once I
satisfying.
started doing 3D, it's like you said, it's hard to just go and do regular stuff because I'm so used to it, but it fits perfect in their home. And I'm blessed. I get to see it at least once or twice a year because they have us over for dinner. Every one of my clients I've gone back, they're just amazing. So.
Yeah, and I think, it's the soul. You give so much soul to it, and they also, so it's actually a giving and taking also, it's the connection, and it's
Oh, it is. So whenever they see
together.
that piece, they know they helped with it because they gave me their ideas.
Yeah, the preparation.
And then I was able to use my forests to create plants and stuff that look like they're real. And I actually been on that piece, hired my daughter to help create. Both our daughters are great artists. Actually, even my grandkids are good artists.
Oh, yeah.
But so I had her help create some of the leaves and the plants that we put together because these are, we're cutting in like cedar branches and all those needles, they're tiny.
Mhm.
So I use a lot of wires and different things in my pieces, but each piece tells a story, and it tells a story of usually of that customer. Or if I create a piece like the one of the kids, the boy and girl, that was my grandkids. And the reason I don't show their faces is I want people to see that
Mhm.
and think of their own kids or own grandkids,
Yeah, yeah.
and I try to create pieces so they each have movement.
Wow. Yeah, and you can, I mean, 3D. I love it. It's so great. I have to get one of your art one day. have to have to bring up my business more, and then I can afford it. But
And I'll
it's
have to
really,
deliver it to your place.
it's yes, yes. So we can make a deal. No, it's really, I love it. And because it's a process, this is so great. You take the time for the preparation, then you start, you come back, you go forth. It's developing together this art. It's not just, you get a picture, that's it. So it's really a
No, well, it's kind
process.
of like
It's
with
personal.
anything. You have to listen to what your client needs or the
That's
person you're
true.
helping needs. If you don't listen, you're not going to get anything right. And
Yes.
never assume that you know what they're thinking. Make sure you ask those questions, and it's like I have a questionnaire thing that I even made myself. So to make sure I'm asking the right questions. And it's like when I have all of those answers and I've designed, I also have a sheet that I go back with, and I was like, okay, how far do you want it to come off the wall? Do
Yes.
you want
So
branches to
important.
completely come off? Do you want your leaves to be a silk, or do you want them to be, how do it's like, what do you want me to paint with acrylics? Do you want me to paint with oils? One color, 3 colors, 10 colors, and they get to figure out what they want. Of course, there's different prices for each thing.
Yes.
Here's the base price if we just do this, but this is how much extra.
Yes.
It's kind of like buying a car or anything. It's a package, but they get to choose what they want. So
Yes.
they're creating this for themselves and for their homes. So they're helping to design it, really.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, I love the idea and I love the process. And also, how many hours did you have for this? Just
No,
in average. So
no,
people
we're talking
accurate.
hundreds. Because I think I worked on that 3 or 4 months because of different carving and because there's a lot of prep work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Boards and panels have to be designed for it. There's special screens because this is so heavy. You need to put stuff on to make sure it never falls off. Just
Mhm.
that top panel piece was 165 pounds.
Whoa. Yeah, it's physics. So you are also into
Yeah.
physics, yes? So
Yes.
statics and you need to know everything about this.
My,
Wow,
my
that's so
husband's like,
wonderful.
would you stop making things so heavy?
Yeah, yeah, but it's really true art perfectly. So now we didn't talk so much about your book. I just recommend to buy it and to discover all the things. And
Oh,
yeah, I think we are almost out of time. Yeah, we are all
oh,
out of time, but our time.
sorry.
So, what are the 3 most important things you want our audience to take away?
3 most. Well, one is to live each day to the fullest. You know, always take time for yourself, and you want to be unique. A lot of times people are so afraid of being themselves. They copy. And I see this, and I'll show it as an example as an artist. I see all these artists starting out, and it's one thing to copy to learn a technique, but don't copy to be that artist.
Mhm.
Because they think, oh, because they're selling, that I'm going to copy their work. Well, that doesn't make you stand out. You're not unique.
Mhm.
It's like, as a coach, if you're exactly like every other coach out there, why do they want to hire you over those other coaches? Why would they want to hire you as an artist over those other artists? And
Mhm.
so, or like books, even you don't want your book to be exactly like somebody else's. So it's okay to be unique. It's okay to be you and to find that uniqueness. And sometimes you have to challenge yourself more, but in experience and ask others, what do they like or think about you? Why do you stand out compared to everybody else?
I think that's the hard work, to get to know yourself and to
Right.
be true to yourself and find what is unique to yourself.
It,
And this, you can't do this alone. You need a community to tell you how you are, how you get,
you do,
what
because a
they
lot of
think.
times we put ourselves down instead
Yeah.
of lifting ourselves up,
Hmm.
because we see all of our faults or the things that we do wrong or don't wrong. And but when you realize that you have more experience or you have something that no one else has to offer, it's you. So use that. And then the other thing is communication.
Yeah.
To listen more. And I'm guilty of it as much as anybody, but take the time to always listen to others and listen to but yet at the same time to know what to filter out and what not to filter, because you can get good advice from some people and other people you're like, you've never been your own boss, so why, it's like, nah, you know coaches are great, but make sure that coach has actually um made mistakes.
Yes.
They actually know what it's like and they've actually coached or done that, whatever you're going for, you
Hmm.
know, have they ran their own business for years, or are they just telling you how to, but they've never had a business themselves?
Hmm.
Have they ever drawn a picture? Have they ever baked a cake? You
Hmm.
get what you pay for.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is also, if you're in a community, you get to know a lot of people, and it's so good to get also an eye and an ear on how different people approach and how they think and how they perceive you. it's it's so
Exactly.
good, the feedback, to get feedback. I was always afraid about feedback. I was really like, oh, don't come with feedback to me. And I still have the feeling sometimes, but it's really great to get feedback. But people have to know how to give feedback. And our coaches are great in giving feedback. They are straightforward, but always so kind. And also our community, I
Oh,
appreciate so
exactly.
much.
You and I are part of an outstanding community. We have some of the
Yes.
best coaches in the world. So, and we couldn't ask for better. So yeah, we are blessed. And so we're taking those examples for our businesses.
Yes.
Even though we both have experience and we both have been doing business for years, we just finally, anyway, I know I was finally like, I just want to listen to somebody else tell me what to do for a while, because I don't like making all the mistakes. What coaches do is they help you stop making all those mistakes. They're guiding you on what to listen to, what not to listen to. So
Yeah, yeah, it's so valuable. It's really a shortcut, and then you're so straightforward, and you know what is special and which direction to go and how, to be careful
ex-
about the life work balance, be careful about your resources. It's very
exactly.
holistic. That's why I like it. I thank you so much, Tammy, for your time and passion. I appreciate all your work and all what will come in future. All your projects sounds great, and also your social. We didn't talk about your social, how do you say,
Social media
engagement.
engagement.
Yeah, the social engagement you also do, and it's just, you're a wonderful person, and I appreciate getting to know you better and better each time. I really like the way you go and you work on your life and business. It's wonderful to see.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I just feel, like I said in the beginning, I feel I'm blessed to be here. It's great getting to actually know you even more. So, whatever I can do to help you in any way, you just ask. And of course, we want to have you back on our show. And I'll send you the link again because I love having everybody on because you're an amazing speaker and so is everybody. But what I love about each one of you and especially and of you is your hearts. You
Oh,
share
so
the same
nice.
values. You have kindness in your heart, others. And that's what I see and love.
So
So, and
wonderful. And
I
your retreat.
appreciate you.
You have also a retreat. We didn't talk about the retreat. Oh, we have so many things we should talk about it. You have to come again, you know. But probably you just send me your link for the
I will
retreat so I
send you
can
the
put it
links
underneath, you know, all
to
the
different
fillets and
things.
yeah. Yeah,
I
because
will
that's
do.
wonderful. I have just one more slide with powerofardandnature.com and the mitskafinearts.com
Okay, I will send you
with
some
the link
links.
there.
So,
Yes, so that I would really appreciate this.
and the Facebook links. Yeah, I would actually just before we got on here, I was pulling them up. So,
Thank you all for being here, and I'm sure you gained useful knowledge and the importance of nature and art for your well-being. I recommend to get a copy of Tammy's book, The Power of Art and Nature: 10 Ways Both Can Improve Your Life. It's available at Amazon. If you look for a special gift for a friend, partner, or yourself, get in contact with Tammy and see what magical artworks she is able to create for you. I will include the links under this video. The recording of this interview will be available on our website, www.ganzinbewegung.com, and YouTube. Follow us for more content on Instagram and Facebook. All the best, take care, and let us know how you found the event.